This podcast is sponsored by BB Makes, a family-run personalised gift company. From sports bottles to team merchandise, BB Makes has you covered. They will happily work with you to create unique designs for your perfect gift, with a wide range of products, all able to be personalised with names, quotes, pictures and much more. Head over to bbmakes.com. That's www.bebemakes.com and use the code COIS so they know that we sent you. Oh, and of course, come on you Spurs.
Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to the final episode of the Spurs News Podcast 2024-2025 season. I am Sam. Joining me to reflect and kind of ram our collective heads through a wall, it's Stefan.
Mate, this season feels like the ultimate roller coaster. Like, wow, what a season.
I'm not entirely sure because I don't think I've ever been on a roller coaster that was just straight down and then kind of goes way at the end. Do you know what I mean? Just like, hey, oh, yeah.
Oh my god, this is terrifying. Oh my god, oh, this is fun. Oh, it's finished.
Yeah, it's just pure, oh my god, I think I may die, and, oh, that was nice, and that's it.
It's more like one of those escape room horror mazes.
Oh, see, I always...
The relief is that end door opens, and it's like, oh, I made it out. That was the Europa League final. The rest of the season was being chased by a madman with a chainsaw and a mask. Yep.
Yeah, I like the idea of escape rooms, but the horror, you know those where people jump out the actors and stuff?
Yes.
I literally can't do that. There's a really stupid story like years ago. You remember that whole craze with like the people dressing up as killer clowns?
Oh god, yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, I can't, like, clowns is like, no, you come near me as a clown, you're gonna get put on your ass.
Clowns and spiders, they're your thing, aren't they?
Yeah, don't like spiders. But I will run from spiders. I will punch a clown in the face. I can't work that out. There's some psychological messed up reason. Any answers? Send them to me. But it was kind of funny when that craze kind of happened because Bristol got hit with it. Like, people were doing it all the time. But on the day it kind of hit the news and like, oh, this is happening, my phone blew up. Like, my friends like messaging me about it. Now, the reason why that was is because many years earlier, a guy as a clown, just a kid's performer, not a scary clown of any sort, as I'm walking across a carnival with my friends, decided it'd be funny to jump in front of me and do like a silly face, and I just decked the bastard on instinct. Felt really bad about it afterwards, whilst all the children screamed and cried. But that was my reaction to just like a hey! And so everyone was like, yeah, if some guy tries to jump out being all scary clown, you're going to end up in jail. So we're just giving you a heads up. But yeah, I can't be alone in that. Like, I don't like that whole kind of jumping in your personal space, acting like a dickhead.
I did it once, ever, and that was in London with a group of friends I used to work with.
Yeah.
And I kicked one and got told off.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no.
They were under a table. They grabbed my foot under a table, so my instant reaction was the other foot swung.
Yeah. I
apologised, but I did get asked to leave.
How hard did you kick? Yeah, but no, I don't. Yeah, I'm not kind of into that. That's no, on your own. So, this season, I mean, I've got kind of a packed itinerary for this show, so I'm going to go through it in order. The first thing, which I'm not going to focus a lot on, but I think we just have to mention it because it happened, is the Brighton game. To me, it went almost exactly as, like, before kickoff, I wrote down 1-0 up or 1-1 at half-time, lose 3-1. Right? I actually wrote that down for myself because my prediction was the energy from the crowd, the kind of euphoria, we would be competitive in the first half, but in the second half, our legs would go and the hangovers would kick in. And I think anyone who watched the game, it's like my prediction was just so true. In the second half, we did have that look of the Sunday League team that had just celebrated a title, been on the beer for 3 days, and all of a sudden we're like at the side of the pitch, like, oh, just give me a minute, ref, I just need to throw up. But I mean, that's just my personal take on it. Did you get to see any of the game at all?
I didn't at all. It wasn't televised. I couldn't find it on the radio. The best I got was listening to BBC Final Score. So I was getting kind of snippets, mainly when we conceded.
Yeah, so to me it went exactly the way I kind of predicted. I mean, 4-1 was a bit flattering to them, really, but it was a second half of just...
We're done.
Got no energy left. Yeah, and what was kind of amusing to me was I kind of felt like the crowd in the stadium obviously all went to the game with the same thought, because as the second half was going on, the singing, the kind of party didn't stop. Like, Brighton's 1-0. Yeah, well, fuck it. It's 2-1 Brighton. Don't care. 3-1 Brighton. Really not bothered. 4-1. And they actually, as the fourth goal went in, the Brighton fans were celebrating and then got drowned out by a chorus of, like, "Oh, when the Spurs."
Yeah, they cut to the BBC Final Score, cut to the game just as the fourth goal was about to be scored.
Yeah.
And the person was talking, explaining, oh, there's an attack, oh, and then you hear this eruption of noise, which is obviously the Brighton team, fans, and then almost instantly, "Oh, when the Spurs!" And I was like, "Oh, okay, right, we are just pure European champion celebration." Okay, fine by me. Fine by me.
Yeah. So, I always talk about this because I think it's an interesting debate to have, is the fans in the stadium and the fans online, and then the fans around the world who don't necessarily live online, are almost like completely different animals.
Yes.
And so, like, if you were following that game purely on a Twitter feed or in the Facebook comments and stuff like that, you are just seeing Ange out hatred of, like, see, one good night doesn't erase a shit season and all this kind of stuff.
Ryan. Yep.
Yeah. And then in the stadium, you were hearing Ange Postecoglou's name sung loudly on a regular basis. And when Daniel Levy's face got shown up on the screen, a chorus of boos.
That was amazing. That was a moment. Like, they did the lap of appreciation on their official YouTube page, so I was able to watch the lap of appreciation. And there's Son with his trophy. There's Madders behind him clapping away. It cuts to a picture of Daniel. Like, you can see the screens up in the corners.
Yeah.
And you see the screen cut to Daniel Levy. You suddenly hear this chorus of booing.
Yeah.
The actual camera itself goes to Daniel Levy, who looks like someone has just run over his favourite puppy.
Harsh.
And then really quickly, all the cameras cut off him very quickly. Like, someone's gone, no, cut it. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, see, again, and this kind of feeds into this thing with me, which is, where does the blame lie? Where do fans feel this season finishing 17th, but winning the Europa League, like, you know, who's responsible, who's ultimately responsible? And to me, the fans in the stadium have got it right. They're singing the manager's name, and the owner goes up on the screen and he's booed. That, to me, shows the fans in the stadium, by and large, of course, not everyone, because Ryan was there flip-flopping like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, Ryan was in the stadium also cheering and messaging us saying, I understand why he needs to get sacked. And then following that message up with, but I really hope they back him in the summer.
Yeah.
I've taught him well.
I was about to say, I really hope, do you know what, I'm going to ask you this. When you saw that kind of, I mean, what was that, about 5 minutes apart, 10 minits apart?
Yeah,
his
10
messages?
minutes maximum between he needs to be sacked, so I hope they back him.
Did you see that and go, oh, I see it now?
I literally put the Spider-Man pointing at each other picture underneath it, like, I understand.
Do you feel like that's kind of like that resonates with you, or do you see it as like, yeah, that's annoying?
No, that resonates. I understand, because most of this season I've been exactly the same. I love Ange. I love what he stands for, but my God, you cannot lose that many games in a season. But he won us the cup! Yay!
All right. So, all right. Well, we're going to come on to that. But the next thing is, we got to mention it because it's funny. It's funny because we won the Europa League. It would not be funny if we didn't. And that is before every season starts, we do a pre-season podcast. And in that show, we talk about transfers that have happened and rumours. We look ahead to the season, what we hope, and everything. And in amongst that, we make predictions. We make predictions of top goal scorer, the person who gets the most assists, the player who, or like who do we think is going to be the breakthrough player, where we think we're going to finish in the league. Do you think we're going to win the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Europa League this season? So I have to do this because Polynesian Dan will be distraught and angry at me if I don't. One member of the admin team said we would win the Europa League. And that was Dan.
Wow.
Yeah, he called it. I do want to say as well, and I'll give him credit to this, in January, when we were all just kind of like, what the hell's this season, man? Like, what's going on? He doubled down and said, I think if Ange puts all his eggs in the one basket, we'll definitely win the Europa League. And I kind of was just like, mate, I just don't see it. Like, look at the way we're playing. I just can't see us winning it. This is so... And it was, like, really dragging me down. So, again, he called it. He was kind of spot on. And by the way, none of you will ever know how much it hurts me saying that. Like, this really hurts. Like, you have no idea how much me and him go backwards and forwards on practically everything.
It's great.
So me having to sit here and be like, he called it, he got it right. Oh, that's painful. Just imagine every guy listening. It's like when your missus is right. You know how we pretend women are always right, but they're not, just for an easier life. It's when they get it right that one time. So annoying. Anyway, and for all the women listening, sorry, Steph wrote that joke, not me. So. We all did these predictions. Do you remember where you said we'd finish in the league?
I'm pretty sure I put us in the top 5.
You said 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4th from bottom. Yeah.
No, number 4. I went 6, but what's funny is I originally said 8th and was kind of like, no, everyone was like giving me, I was like, all right, fine, yeah, you're probably right, 6th. I just thought with the extra competition we'd struggle. I was right.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I never did that. But yeah, basically everyone was just kind of... none of us got our top goal scorer right. But it was Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, it was.
Now, you had him down for top assists.
I did.
But that's... I think it's actually gone to Matters. I think Matters got that, which a couple of us predicted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just... Like I said, it's funny. It just is mad.
I probably put Son down for top goal scorer, and unfortunately he had one of his worst seasons for us.
Hang on. No, you actually said Solanke.
So it Solanke.
Yeah, me and you both went Dom. Yeah.
However, now having watched him for a season, I've realised that actually, as weird as it sounds, goal scoring is not actually the main part of his game, which is weird for a striker.
How many goals do you think he got in the season?
I know he got a decent amount, but he was out injured for a while. But his actual his gameplay isn't necessarily about actually scoring goals. It's more the incredible work rate that man puts into every game he plays. Yeah,
so he got 16, which
not bad.
No, it's when you consider the injuries, it's not bad because of the stop-start part of that, and also when he did find fitness again, the team around him had kind of crumbled, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so he was fit, but no one else was.
Yeah. So it was kind of difficult to see. It's really hard to kind of judge individuals a lot this year because it's like, oh, I don't think they've had a very good season, but at the same time you kind of look and go, well, actually you did do this. I saw a thing the other day about Pedro Porro, and they were like, with his crossing ability, he really should get more assists and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. And then I looked at him, and was like, well, he's in double figures again. And I think Trent Alexander-Arnold kind of broke the broke the perspective for how many assists should a fullback get. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and so I kind of look at it and I'm like, well, actually, I'm really pleased with what he's done. I don't, yeah. And the fact is, I do just want to say as well, Pedro Porro's a machine. You look at the carnage that has existed this season throughout our squad, and Porro was still playing.
Yeah.
And he celebrated, by the way. He looked like he had a very good time for a few days. Did you see his post-match interview that he did with some sort of Spanish journalist? I don't know many people have seen this yet. It's bound to be going around, but the translation, he basically says, I really struggled to train yesterday. The boss had to drag me and a few others to the pitch, which coincides with Ange saying, like, 1 or 2 maybe parted a little too hard and I had to drag them out.
Yes.
So he literally is like, I was a state.
I was in the dressing room, head in my hands, going, not today, boss.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah, right, come on, we're going to run some laps. No. Yeah, so that made me laugh. But one of the things we do on this end of season show is we do our kind of admin awards. Now, there's a 5-person admin team for us this year, but lovely Laura, luscious Laura, Lady Laura, has not sent in her submissions. Now, yeah, I did message her a couple of hours ago. It's like, please, we're recording, do it now. But she's basically on a weekend. What are those? I don't understand it, but all her social media things are pineapple, and her and her other half with loads of other couples on a cruise. I don't know what that means, but it seems like really popular. Loads of people like commenting, have an amazing time. I think it's something to do with like parks. Well, I think it must be something to do with like visiting parks because they keep talking about being on swinging. I don't know. I have no idea, but yeah, she keeps posting pictures. She looks really happy, but clearly she doesn't have the time to do the predictions, which is, it's what it is. But as long as she's having a good time. But anyway, so we have our end of season award, and what we've done is we've asked 6 questions or 6 things. So it was player of the year, young player of the year, or sorry, I should say season, player of the season, young player of the season, your moment of the season, your moment to forget of the season, whether you are Ange in or out, which is obviously the big question today. And then the final one is, do you think Romero's going to stay or where is he going to go? So, we will start with Ryan, the newbie, who gives player of the season to Pedro Porro. And he
mainly
basically
because he was available for the most amount of games.
I think that's basically like he was a machine, kept going. And by the way, he's actually played at a very good level.
Yes.
For the whole season. So yeah, I get that, and I think that's fair. He gave young player of the year to Lucas Berreval, which again I'm very happy with. I agree with that. He gave moment of the season down to the Van der Ven clearance. Just as that moment. Again, hard to argue. I'm kind of with that. He said the moment to forget was, he picked a few, but basically...
It's a list.
Well, no, because what he basically was saying was every team that arrived that were winless, that we then gave them 3 points at the stadium.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, like, Ipswich, Leicester, teams like that are like, we can't win a game.
Crystal Palace, we started their run to the FA Cup victory.
Yeah, so all of that. He hilariously says Ange in, despite flip-flopping on that several times yesterday.
I'm going to find the message. I'm going to find the message that he put.
And when it comes to Romero, he says he thinks he's gone. So then, your submissions.
Yep.
You said player of the season, Lucas Berreval.
I did.
So despite his tender age, you gave him player of the season.
Yep.
And then you picked young player of the season, young Gray.
Archie Gray, I think he done brilliantly. Like, he came in asked to play a load of different positions.
Yeah.
And that kid, like, he's 19 now, but he's got the head of a 30-year-old. Like, the maturity, they were talking to him about the medals and stuff, what you're going to do with your medals. First thing he said, his medal, he's going to give his medal to his younger brother to give him inspiration and motivation to get to the top.
Yeah, I just realised, which is just kind of funny, is that your player of the season is younger than your young player of the season.
Yes.
That's quite funny.
Yeah.
So, your moment of the season was Sonny lifting the trophy.
10 years away from that moment for Sonny. Yep.
Yeah, that's hard to argue. Now, your moment to forget, you kind of copped out. You just wrote too many. Can you not pick one?
I can think of at least 21 just league matches.
Can you just pick one for the show? Could you just say one moment?
Okay, my one is going to be the Leicester City game.
Okay, that's fair. Good one to forget. Are you Anjin or Anjo?
I'm Anjin.
And do you think Romero stays or he goes?
I want him to stay, but I think he goes.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
So just for a quick laugh, so Ryan Miller, yeah,
right.
Admin Ryan at 5:31. I would completely understand if Levy does sack him, even with us winning a trophy.
Yeah.
So that's 5:31 at 5:42.
Yeah.
I really hope they keep him. If he is in shit for the first couple of months of the season, get rid, but at least invest in the squad and give him a chance.
Yeah.
11 minutes, dude.
Yeah. And we'd gone from being 3-1 down to 4-1 down in that time.
Yeah,
I think it just makes
got
no
worse
logical
and
sense.
he'd gone the other way.
Yeah. So Polynesian Dan, who's going to be the most controversial here, he went player of the season as Porro as well, which is good. He went young player of the season Berval as well. He put moment just in Bilbao, just all of that, just as a moment. He put a moment to forget Tamworth. Yeah, that's.
Oh God! See, I had actually forgotten about that. Yeah,
that was dark. Romero stays or goes. He believes he's gone. Anjin are out. Polynesian Dan is out.
Yeah, but he also wants us to sell 3/4 of the squad. So
he does, but he does that every window.
Every transfer window.
Every transfer window. Right, sign these 12 players, sell these 15.
It balances the books, though.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do like about him when he does his transfer thing.
Oh,
he does go down the finances. Well, I reckon we can get this player for this much and sell that one for that much. So we can buy these 15, but sell these 12, and I think we'll actually come out about £12.50 up.
Yeah, he's Daniel by name, Daniel by nature. Player of the season for me, I put Johnson. He finished our top goal scorer, and I don't think we should overlook that as a contribution. Plus,
Do you remember how excited you were when we signed him?
No, not at all. No. And to be honest with you, it's a weird one because I don't think he's anywhere near hitting where he should. Like, I genuinely watch him in a lot of games and think you should be doing more. But I also don't think you should overlook putting the ball in the net.
No.
And the fact that he positions himself on a regular basis to be that person, and when we got to a final, he was that person. So
did you see the Instagram post Madison put up about the need a far post knocking? I know a guy. This is a picture of Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out he celebrated pretty friggin' hard because he was wasted on that parade.
Oh man!
I mean, wasted.
There was one part where they're on the stage outside the stadium. The whole team are together, and he's on his own at the side, like. Yeah.
It's like they go over to him like, "Oh, it's your birthday," and he's like, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck."
People don't give a shit about my birthday.
Just absolutely trashed.
But it was nice that Madison actually had a cake and stuff, and they all sung for him. That was quite a nice moment.
Yeah, it was
Yaya
nice,
Toure somewhere throwing stuff.
No. He's proper Spurs now. He's fine. He loved that. He got a cake when he was with us. The young player of the season, I went Lucas Berval. My moment was similar to Dan. I'm just saying Bilbao. The whole thing was just like, to me, magical because I felt like we were going to win and we did. So yeah, it was really good. My moment to forget was that Liverpool semi-final. That really hurt me. Am I Anjin or out? I'm Anjin. Romero stays or goes. I'd love him to stay, but I think he's gone. So that's our kind of end of season things. Like I said, we missed out on Laura because she's on a swinging cruise. I mean, just a cruise. But hopefully she'll submit her answers at some point. Mate, the Europa League. We can't just sort of. I mean, we've done a show reacting to that where we just fell completely into the positives as we should.
Yep.
I think we just want to touch on it again now, which is, I was born in 1983. I've been really kind of following football closely since the 1990-91 season, because the Italia 90 World Cup just grabbed me. I became football obsessed.
Yep.
And then, like, I've got several older brothers. One, the closest to me in age, was a Tottenham fan. Because of the World Cup, Paul Gascoigne, Gaza was God to me. He plays for Tottenham. Boom, I'm hooked. We then win the FA Cup in 1991. You know, life as a Tottenham fan, I'm like, oh, this is the shit. Yep. This is everything. Little did I know the pain that would then go on from there. It is quite insane to me that I've lived my entire adult life, really. I went to senior school, I was in my 20s, all of my 30s, and I saw us lift the League Cup the year my daughter was born. And she's now finishing school herself. And like, I lived through all of that and everything, and then I finally got to watch us win a major European trophy. Because I don't, and this isn't me wanting to shit on this, the Conference League for me still feels weird. Like I almost feel like they'd have been better bringing back the Cup Winners' Cup. Mm-hmm. Like it just feels like a third tier. I don't fully get what that is yet. Like, I'm not, so I don't want to discredit that to anyone who wins it or anything. It doesn't feel big yet to me. But the UEFA Cup Europa League has always been almost like, when it was back the European Cup and the UEFA Cup, the UEFA was harder to win. Like, it was largely a harder, tougher competition. And then the Europa League has sort of continued to be quite tough. But then this season, the argument is, oh yeah, but the Champions League teams don't drop down into it anymore, so it's easier and all that stuff. I look at the teams we faced and the teams we beat and how many of them are Champions League teams next season, and a number of them are. So the whole thing about levels and stuff like that, European competition, when you go away in Europe, it is friggin' tough. I don't care who you're playing, what's going on. And over the years, we have had very good sides. Like the Pochettino team was a very good side. The team that Jose had was a good side. The team that Conte had was a good side. And yet they consistently ballsed up Europe. Like, consistently just didn't perform.
They always turned up with that kind of attitude of, we're Tottenham, we're in the Premier League, it's the best league in the world, we'll win this.
Yeah, and that,
and then
that
get beaten
kind
by a guy that's in prison.
Oh God, that hurts still. I mean, it's funny, but so I can't underestimate the importance of winning something. And the other thing as well, which I just want to touch on, and I'll bring you in to give your thoughts after, is I don't think I realised the I don't know, not importance, because fandom isn't all about that, but just the parade had, they reckon, the local authorities believe 225,000 people attended that. They reckon, I mean, and that was like on about 24 hours notice.
Yeah.
Because obviously we won it Wednesday, they announced it Thursday, it went ahead on, so that's insane to me when you think about that, because I know so many people, me and you including, stuff like, who would love to have been there, just had no way of being there for that.
Yeah.
Like, that sort of notice is just impossible for so many reasons. So you could, that's just what that is. But when you look at the outpouring of love, emotion, and then you go onto the socials, one of the things, like, I couldn't sleep after we won. Like, I was so over them, but I was just scrolling and going through just the reactions and video after video of, like, there was just so much there. And I was just wanting to drink it all in, because it was like, I don't know when this will happen again. Like, if you look at the fact that in my lifetime, this is the third trophy I've seen in my life, in my memory. So 91, 2008, sorry, a couple because of the we won the League Cup a couple of times, but like the most recent one, and then this. So it's the fourth in my lifetime.
The poor Audi Cup, always forgotten.
No, we won the League Cup, beating Leicester.
The Vodafone
Nielsen
Trophy,
scored.
the Audi Cup, the Tiger Beer, whatever it was.
I shit on all of those. Yeah, I just it's like I don't even care about them anymore. It's weird. But yeah. So anyway, it just like it was crazy to me, and for me, like experiencing that is hard. Like I now have an affection and a kind of a feeling, like a bond with that squad of players, which I didn't realise I had, because the season by and large had been so poor, so many games had been so rubbish. I felt that kind of disconnect to the club again, which I'd only felt years ago pre-Pochettino, which is when I just completely switched off. I was following the academy teams and that was it. And now I'm so, like, I got to see behind the curtain with some of these players what they're like. QT Romero, who in the hell knew that guy was such a party animal?
Wouldn't have expected it, would you? I think one of the players for me that really shows that is Basuma. I have spent the season we'll sell Basuma, we'll replace him with a more of a destroyer midfielder that we need. He can go. Now I'm like, make that guy a statue and the official club DJ. Like, guy's a legend.
It is bizarre, but yeah. So, what for you then? Just the final kind of word on that Europa League win. Like I just said then about this kind of connection I feel now. In your own words, how are you feeling?
I'm absolutely elated still. My wife has threatened to divorce me if I sing the Johnson Again I Lay song in the house.
Just got out of my head.
That has been in my head since Wednesday, thanks to James Maddison doing it. And then again on Friday, it started again at the parade, and I have been singing it ever since. And the wife has threatened to divorce me for that.
Yeah, that's
I have a 2.5-year-old that can now sing Nice One, Sonny.
Nice.
Which I'm very proud of. Again, wife not so much.
Good.
For me, it was the whole journey of the Europa League. Lancashire scoring his first goal for the club. And then getting a red card, which was like, yes. The pure excitement of scoring, the overload, the red card.
Yeah.
That night in Holland where Mikey Moore got his first goal for the club, and it was like that night made on the academy with the 3 academy lads all scoring in that game.
Yeah.
Was just an incredible night to watch that happen.
Yeah.
And then obviously to get to the final. And to watch that final and to cry and to pound the floor when we won with the excitement as I fell to my knees, and to have the wife leave the room when I say it's the best day of my life and still hasn't forgiven me for that.
No.
And, to then kind of, like you, not really be able to sleep Wednesday night and just scrolling through the players' social media and seeing them all just literally drinking in the moment.
Yeah, it actually made me rejoin Instagram so I could see it all. Like
it was incredible.
I left Facebook and Instagram years ago, and so I've actually set up a Sam Spurs News Instagram just so I could spend just basically watching it all, which was insane.
And then and even then to get to Friday and to get to the parade, like I finished work. Annoyingly, I finished work as the parade started.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of driving home and I can feel my phone in my pocket going crazy, which was you guys all messaging about it.
Yeah.
I got home, literally, said hello to the wife and kids, whacked YouTube on, managed to get it back to kind of the beginning of it and watch the whole thing. And just the moments, and it's like, I've never witnessed this. As a Spurs fan, I don't remember witnessing this.
No.
I vaguely remember the 2008. Like I said on the other podcast, I can still name you the squad. I can still remember the goals, but I can't really remember the feeling.
No.
to then have this was just incredible.
Just out of interest, because this kind of going to go to my point in a few minutes. Do you remember how many games we lost or where we finished in the league that year? We won the League Cup 2008.
No.
All right, just
not at all. I know we didn't have a great season because Ramos got sacked, but couldn't tell you where we finished, how many games we lost, who we lost to.
It was the next season he got sacked.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Sorry,
it was Martin Yole's. It was Martin Yole's team. He kind of took over and won the League Cup. Now by winning the Europa League, yes, we're in the Champions League next season. Everyone knows that. We're also.
Dun, 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 dun. Yes.
Mate, he just sings lasagna. I don't know why everyone keeps telling me it's champions. It's not. It's lasagna like that. So I'm not having it. We also will play in the European Super Cup.
That is nuts. That alone is nuts.
I want your opinion on this because I genuinely don't know how people feel about it. Is that a trophy,
yes,
or is it the Community Shield?
It's the Community Shield of Europe, but it's definitely a trophy. It would be like, this is going to sound really silly. So PSG play Inter Milan in that final.
They do, yeah.
I haven't missed it, have I?
No,
it hasn't happened yet.
This week.
They will play each other in that final. They then win the Champions League. They are the winners of the top dogs of Europe.
Yeah.
For them, the Super Cup is more like a Community Shield sort of thing.
Right.
For the winners of the Europa League, if we can then go and we beat the winners of the Champions League,
right,
that's even bigger for us. Because that's the ultimate crown of Europe.
See, it kind of feels to me like you've actually just kind of called us the little club, and therefore if we win it, it's a big deal. But if the bigger club wins it, it's not. That's kind of really shit on Spurs.
The winner of the Champions League should win the Super Cup.
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of like
it's similar to like the winner of the World Cup versus the winner of the Euros. The World Cup should be a harder challenge to win, so therefore you'd expect them to win the other one.
Yeah, I'm not sure it is. I think the Euros is harder to win than the World Cup.
And then you look at kind of the Europa League and the Champions League, and with the new format and stuff, possibly the same thing. But yeah, I see that as a trophy, and I am absolutely buzzing already for that one.
All right, so I'm gonna take the kind of the neutral track of, if we win it, it's a major trophy. If we lose, it's just a shit Community Shield of Europe. Yeah, got you. Right, okay, that's the way we go then. Obviously, we'll watch the Champions League final with great interest to see which team we'll be facing in that.
I certainly will. Inter Milan are my Italian team. I have done the stadium tour. I'm a massive Inter Milan kind of fan, so I really want them to win the Champions League, but I really don't want them to win because I don't want Tottenham to beat them to win the Super Cup.
I want the.
That's a challenge.
PSG to win. So, now someone asked me to do a loan wrap up for the season. This is kind of. I'm going to do it, but it's kind of a difficult one to do. So let me fly through this.
Now it's time for the loan update.
Right, so it's not really an update, it's kind of a conclusion thing. So I'm going to try and do is I'm going to read out all the players and kind of like a state of play. So this season, Højbjerg was on loan. However, it's a fee to buy. So in July, his transfer to Marseille will be permanent. A £17 million fee. Thank you very much. Manor Solomon played the season at Leeds. They want to sign him. He is technically returning to Spurs this summer. However, my understanding is negotiations are already underway between the clubs. We're looking for sort of between 25 and 30 million. Leeds are trying to do around 20 plus potential. I think a deal gets done there.
Not bad for a free transfer under dodgy circumstances.
Yeah, I feel weird about that. Yeah, I still feel really weird about that, but I'm just going to... it's what it is. Brian Hill had a loan at Girona in Spain. He got cut short due to injury. He'd been having kind of a promising loan until that point. But because of the injury, I don't think they're going to take up the option they had. His agent gave an interview basically saying he's looking for a new club. We are actively looking to sell him. There's nothing more concrete on that at the moment. The forgotten player, Veliz, was on loan at Espanyol. His agent has said he's looking to leave Tottenham this summer. There's nothing more on that at the moment.
That's a shame, because I think that kid can be really, really good.
I've not seen it, though. Like, he's got attributes for sure, but he's been on loan, and I've not seen any evidence, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
Jan Min Hook was on loan at QPR. Fans really liked him. Fitness-wise, is pretty clear there's some work to do for the English game, but the loan served him well. And yeah, QPR fans thought he did really well.
He's got a few goals and a few assists as well, didn't he? So he didn't do too badly.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of all you could ask of him, really, in that kind of loan. It's going to be interesting to see what we do next there, because to me, he's still quite young, and when we're looking at our squad and like players, foreign players and stuff like that, I think he might need a full loan in the Championship next season, but that's obviously on the powers that be. Ashley Phillips, his second full season in the Championship. He was at Plymouth last season. He finished this season at Stoke. He was having a bit of a weird one where I wasn't really seeing a lot about him, and Stoke, weren't really pulling up trees or anything. But then from Christmas onwards, there wasn't a weekend where I wasn't seeing Stoke fans raving about him and wanting to sign him. So, he's obviously had another very good season in the Championship. He is, without a doubt, a very good Championship-level central defender. It is now down to the club to judge whether he can, with time, be a very good Premier League defender, whether there's a club in the Premier League who are willing to loan him for the season and play him. That's ideal to me. But again, it's going to be down to how he looks in pre-season and the club decision on where that goes. We had two players in Belgium, Alfie Devine and, of course, the young Croatian central defender Luka Vuskovic, who's going to have to do a tutorial on how to say his name, because I don't know. They were both at Westerlo in Belgium. Devine, it was a bit of a tough loan for him, I think. I'm not convinced it was a good move. He picked up a hamstring injury towards the sort of back end of the season as well. And it just exactly. Vuskovic, however, had a phenomenal loan. It's his second loan since the transfer was agreed to us. And this was a higher standard of football last year, but he was a colossus for them. He's still 18. The guy's a mountain.
Am I right in thinking he is now able to join the club this summer?
Yeah. So this summer he'll be at Hotspur Way, and obviously the club will need to make decisions on him. I mean, a Championship loan, phenomenal, but a loan where he's going to play every week. So I've said this before, I would rather he plays 40 to 50 games in League One than 10 at a Championship club.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's all about match experience and learning the game, sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he's only 18, so there's a lot there, and learning the English game for him, the language, the culture, and everything, is going to be huge. Ideally, you find a club in London so he can still train at Hotspur Way on a regular as well and stay in close contact.
Send him to someone like Leyton Orient, a Charlton.
Well, Leyton Orient, we've had that very good. We've sent them a couple of players this season. Josh Keeley and Jamie Donnelly. Sadly, they lost the League One playoff final at Wembley yesterday.
Gutted for them on that one.
Yeah, I was gutted for him, and also I was watching it, and the commentators really blamed Keeley for the free kick that went in. This goes back to this kind of narrative that's created by commentators and pundits. You got a 4-man wall, and the guy managed to bend it round it and it went in. I mean, so he wouldn't have seen it until the ball came round. It's like, and there's there going, oh, a more experienced keeper has a 5-man wall there, and I'm thinking, oh, just shut up.
Yeah.
What do you want about? But anyway, so they both had brilliant loans though, and from an experience point of view, they had good seasons. The FA Cup tie against Man City. I mean, Donnelly lobbing the keeper, etc. That's sensational stuff and experiences, which is going to really help them get into a playoff final as well. That's playing at Wembley in a competitive fixture. All of this is experience that for us as a club, it is brilliant. Will Lancashire at West Brom, again, you didn't see really much about that. No great kind of stats of like barreling them in. However, interestingly, when I looked into it, West Brom fans very really impressed by him. A lot of compliments to his fitness and work rate, and his commitment. Which, again, when you got a centre forward and you as a team are not creating a lot, but they are working their asses off, I think fans who attend games especially can appreciate that. And it seems to be a kind of prerequisite at our club that, if you're not able to hit the heights, the bare minimum is you work your ass off.
Yeah.
Which I like. And then finally from this list, I've got Alfie Dorrington, who went up to Aberdeen in January. Didn't really get a lot of starts to begin with, was kind of coming from the bench. He established himself, then it's done very well, really, really great reviews, and started in the Scottish Cup final at the weekend.
Scored a goal.
An own goal, which was kind of harsh, because it sort of barreled in.
I've watched the replays of it, and it was... A defender goes up for the corner, headers it hits him and goes in, and he's just kind of stood there going, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, and the defender was the header?
Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Yeah, so that goal was purely Spurs. But however, the game was mental because Aberdeen then later scored from an own goal from Kasper Schmeichel in the Celtic net.
Yep.
It went to penalties and Aberdeen won. So young Alfie Dorrington won the Scottish Cup with Aberdeen and looked very happy about it.
Good lad.
Yeah, so again, when you're looking at experience for these players, he's played a lot of competitive games north of the border and has then gone to the Scottish Cup final and won it.
So here's an interesting one because he had a nasty injury, and before that, all the reviews were like, he is the next thing. Like, he's a unit, that guy.
Yeah.
And everyone was kind of like, he's good on his feet, he's quite quick, he's nimble, he's got a good tackle, he's very tall, good in the air.
Yeah.
He got injured and kind of everyone forgot about him almost.
It wasn't forgotten, it was a real fear that he was never going to get his confidence back because I watched him a lot for the under-21s, and when he came back from the injury, he didn't try anything. Like, he used to turn people, he used to power... Van de Ven would go on a run.
Yep.
Dorrington did that all the time. Not post-injury. It was like he didn't want to do anything to stretch his muscles, didn't want to... balls in behind, he used to be sprinting back, you let him go. So you kind of looked at it and went, oh, shite.
He's lost that faith in his own muscles.
This has killed him, this is a problem. And I really felt, and I might have said it on the show, but when they sent him on loan, it was kind of like a do or die thing. Like, you will get this out of your system and feel good again, or you're not going to make it, kid, and we're going to end up releasing you, which would have been horrific.
Yep.
But he has. He's gone up there in tough conditions in Aberdeen, like literally as north of Scotland as you can go, pretty much.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had to run around up there, for sure.
No. Well, you got to keep running, I think. So, yeah, I mean, now there were other players who were on loan, like Abbott and people like that, but, I mean, those are kind of the main ones I've covered off.
George Abbott got goal of the season, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Give him a mention on that.
Of the season. Yeah, good lad.
It's a cracking goal, to be fair.
Yeah. Yep, it was. So, the big question then, and the thing we're going to end on for the season is Ange Postecoglou. I have given this so much thought, because over the course of the season, and people who listen to the show will know this, I supported him, I backed him, and I got to a point where I was like, do you know what? I don't think I can continue supporting him and backing him because the results are just so bad that I've reached the point where I gotta say it's just not worked. I wanted it to work. I wanted it to be okay, but it's not. And so I reached that point. Now, me and Polynesian Dan had a kind of conversation about this where he said, you're now Ange in because we won the Europa League, but if we hadn't won the Europa League, you were Ange out. And I was like, well, I think I'd reached the Ange out stage because I didn't believe that we would win the Europa League. I didn't have any faith in us actually achieving that goal. To me, it felt like we'd binned off everything but the Europa League.
Yeah.
Because the players' effort just wasn't there. Like, I'd watch them play in the Europe and be like, they're really dedicated. Like, they're really going for it. Like, the Frankfurt game, I remember watching that thinking, where has this been?
Yep.
So this squad does have the fitness, does have the ability, the commitment.
The determination, the passion, all of it. Yeah, it's there.
Where has this been? And then I kind of thought, this would be a catalyst then. Like this is them reigniting the season. Then we played the next league game and we were awful.
We
and
lost 2-0 to Forest, wasn't it, that one? It was like,
I can't wrap my brain around this. This just doesn't work. And so I think the frustration and everything boiled over for me. But the reality is, and this is the key thing, he did win the Europa League. Like, I know you can have this kind of like, yeah, I know, but no, he did win it. And he said afterwards, he kind of confirmed afterwards what we'd all been wondering, which is, I made the decision in January. I had to put all my eggs in one basket because the squad was decimated. We couldn't compete on all these fronts, and I knew that winning a trophy was what this club needed. And so this whole kind of thing for me was like, one of the big things constantly is who is to blame for like the situation we're in. And it kind of felt like this season we all had that consensus, this kind of collective thought of the hierarchy at the club is to blame. Like, we have had appoint this guy, give him a few sign-ins. Not winning. Okay. Sack him, appoint this guy, give him a few sign-ins. Not winning. Okay. Sack him. And what has happened then, consecutively, is you've got a squad of a hodgepodge of failed managers' dreams.
Yep.
All of their visions, and they were all so different. Like, I know Jose and Conte, you could say, are both similar, but actually no. Formations, everything, they're vastly different. Boring bastards, but vastly different. Nuno even, you put him in there. He's actually different to them two as well. So even the fact that he had that kind of phase where he had a transfer window with players being bought for him. And so you had since Pochettino left, and bear in mind, after the third season, Pochettino said the famous line of, there's no point having a wonderful house if the furniture's crap. And we need a painful rebuild.
Yeah.
And he was right. Like, every aspect of that was right. And then you watched, from that moment, his team gradually decline. The Champions League run, we all just kind of, it papers over. But they did. They were on a decline. From the end of that third season, the fourth and the fifth season, like, there was a decline.
Yeah.
Because he called it. He needed to be backed. He needed to be supported, but he wasn't. He was fired. They ripped it all up. Then that squad got sort of messed around with to try and fit Jose. Didn't work. Then it got messed around with to fit Nuno. Didn't work. To fit Conte. Didn't work. And then Ange comes in with a squad of players when he came in, if you think about it, that still had Poch players there, which is mad when you think about it, that's 5 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And Jose players, Nuno players, Conte players, and he had the job of fixing it, of turning it around and going, right, no, we don't play that boring shit anymore. We're actually going to play football. All of this squad needs to be overhauled. Loads of you need to leave, which means we need to bring loads of people in. It means I need to bed them in. It isn't an overnight thing, but in his first season, he finished 5th in the league. We didn't have Europe, but he managed to finish 5th. We bombed out of the cups early, but his focus clearly was the league. Because we need to finish high up the league, try and get back into Europe. That's the focus for a club this size. Nothing else matters. In season 2, just to kind of... So in that season, he was given a transfer window in that first window, which got him Van de Ven, Vicario, and Maddison. There were other players as well, but those 3 are very, very important first-team players for Ange.
Yep.
They are. You then go to the fact that we then go into this second season. I think we signed Solanke as a first-team player.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we signed Solanke. Lucas had already been signed, so he was just joining the club. It wasn't actually a...
Yeah, but I mean, even though he and Gray have contributed, they are still kids.
Yeah, they were not signed for the amount of... I think didn't Ange even come out and pretty much said they were not signed for the amount of games they've played this season.
Not at all.
Brennan Johnson came in, but again, I think Brennan Johnson has played a lot more than he was probably expected to play.
Johnson was the year before as well?
Was he that season
now
as well?
We're saying that, yeah. Yeah, so that's Maddison, Johnson, Vicario, and Van de Ven in that window. And the
Van de Ven one I still laugh at because he was like our second or third choice on the list.
Yeah. But what a list.
Yeah.
But my point is, because I want to try and get this across as best I can, is we then shrank the squad size. So the squad size in his first season was too big. We all knew that. We gave away players, free transfers, we did this, and we replaced that experience, like a guy like Højbjerg, doesn't suit Ange Ball. The player knew it, Ange knew it, but you could trust him to come off the bench 10 minutes, come on and be a destroyer for us, got it. Yep. Come on and just keep the ball, got it. Because he's experienced, he knew how to do that, he knew how to keep himself going. You can't do that with young players, really, because they don't have that experience.
No, that's true.
So you've cleared all of that out, replaced it with teenagers, reduced the squad size, so we're not even hitting our squad limits that were allowed for the Premier League, the Europa League, because of how badly managed the squad is. And then you say to him, right, so I've added a competition to you this year. By the way, that competition is like, if you want to win it, that's like 15 matches additional to your thing.
Yep.
And you need to be better than you were the season before. So our club handed him, for his second season, a worse squad, in essence. You know, in terms of experience, in terms of numbers. And then we had the massive injury crisis that we had. And he has actually said, which was interesting to me, not taking responsibility, saying, my methods have done this, because like me and you have said before, if that was the case, we would know it, because the players will be screaming. There isn't a player who has a short career who's going to be willing to have a manager half kill them. So if there was a problem with the way he trains and the way he does anything, the way they play, they would all be screaming via their agents and we'd know about it. None of them are. They're all backing him.
Yep.
So if you were at the fact, he said, like, we did a pre-season based on this, and I think we got it wrong. We would do it differently this time. We would prepare differently. I don't think we got that right. So we started the season sluggish. That all to me is like, okay, all right, I get that. And we're all learning, we're all kind of evolving and stuff. But for me, he was handed, like, here's some tools with your first season. And because you've got to overhaul the squad, here's 4 first-team players. Okay, you've done quite well. We've now got into Europe. Brilliant. Yeah, here's 1 first-team player. That doesn't make sense.
He's 1 first-team player, and he's 3 players that we know are going to be really, really good in about 3 seasons.
Yeah, potentially. We've signed players with potential. And that's what we're doing. Now, we get to January, and the season's not going well, but we are still in cups. But the league season's bad. But the injury crisis is insane. And he has said in practically every press conference, we need help. This squad of players need help. And I stand by the fact, when that didn't happen and happened fast in a serious first team players being signed way,
Yeah.
I think it broke the spirit a little bit.
Yeah, like we signed Kinski like pretty much instantly, and we all kind of sat there and went, "Fuck, they're actually going to do it. They're going to bring the players in we need." Because Ange did an interview where it was like, I don't need help, the players need help.
Yeah.
And he made that really clear. He was like, "I'm the manager. I don't need extra help, but those guys on the pitch do."
Yeah.
And we then signed a goalkeeper straight away, and I was like, "My God, the club have listened. They've actually listened to what we need. This is incredible." And then we went another 3 weeks of going, we're going to sign anyone else?
And then we signed Danzo, who I like.
I like him very much.
He was available. He was available on day one.
Yep.
And we just didn't do it. And we signed Matistel, who I like, but is 19 years old again.
Yeah. He was
Phenomenal
unfortunately, he was never going to come in and set the world on fire, which I think, unfortunately for him, a lot of fans went, "Oh, he's come from Bayern Munich, he scored a Champions League goal, and Harry Kane reckons he's a really good player because he got interviewed about it. He's going to come in and set the world on fire." And it was like, he's 19.
Yeah. He's playing, it just, I can't get over that kind of where the thinking is. So then we get to this point now where we finish the season. It is a record-setting season in a bad way. It's the lowest Premier League finish we've ever had. It's the most amounts of defeats in a season we've ever had. We set a Premier League record for the team with the highest number of defeats not to be relegated in a 38-game season. Everything about the Premier League season is atrocious, but who is to blame?
Yeah.
And this is where this kind of thing comes in, where I'm like, for me, we could sack Ange, and I really think Daniel Levy's going to do it because he's an asshole. And the reason why I think he's an asshole on this is really simple. If you fire Ange Postecoglou today, after thank you so much for the Europa League, but unfortunately the Premier League performance is just not good enough, there's two things. One, you're saying trophy success isn't as important to me as money. Because whether you finish 17th or 7th, winning the 17th or 8th, let's say, because of European places, it's only money in that, right? That is only money. It is only financial, every league place adds a few million to the pot.
Yep.
So it's just purely money. He has not only won a trophy, he's qualified for the Champions League, so the top European competition, the big money. So if you're like, we need to be high at the leagues, we need to get in the Champions League, he's done that. so that whole thing. So purely for me, if you sack him now, you are telling us as a fan base, again, trophies don't mean shit, it's the money.
Profit over glory. Yep.
Yeah, I need you to finish 4th and do well in other things. Maybe, I don't care so much, but 4th is important because that's where the money is. Because that gets us Champions League, but also the Premier League pot as well. The second thing it tells me, the second thing is, okay, right, so you fired him. Let's look at the criteria to replace him. You're going to need to find a manager who plays attacking football, because otherwise you've got to start the squad again.
Yeah.
You need to find a manager who basically plays a similar style to Ange, not identical, but similar, so they can utilise these players. Secondly, you're going to want to appoint someone who actually knows the Premier League. Appointing foreign managers all the time sometimes can happen, like signing players to come in. You don't know how they're going to get on in England. You just don't.
Yeah.
And you got to look at our history with this. So many misses. Like Jacques Santini was the manager of France, came in, lasted all of 2 months. It's a nonsense. And the third criteria point has to be that they're a winner. You need to prove that you can win things. Well, I'm sorry, but you've just described Ange Postecoglou, and you're going to sack him.
Yeah, pretty much.
It doesn't make sense to me. And the whole thing about, but we've been crap all year and all of this stuff, but there are reasons why we've been crap all year. And he's talked about the reasons, everybody knows the reasons, and he's won the Europa League in spite of that. If there's ever a manager that we should be backing, it's the one that's just ended our trophy drought. Like, you look at our history, and I put this in our chat, and it's true. The last 3 managers who have finished this poorly in the league for us since 1958 are Bill Nicholson in 1958, Keith Birkinshaw, and now Ange Postecoglou. If we'd fired Bill Nick in 58, all of that success that then came wouldn't have happened.
Yep.
You just, sometimes you have to look at this thing and just say, okay, there are all these circumstances around it, so let's back him. And backing a manager has to be more than just here's money to spend. Backing a manager has to be, and in a lot of ways, Daniel Levy has done that this season. He's backed him with the Europa League by not firing him. He's kind of held off, which he normally would have done.
Yep.
Back him now. Back him and say, okay, do you know what? The league, like, he needs to almost have a meeting with him and say, I understand the circumstances of everything that's happened this season. The Europa League was incredible, but we cannot have that level of performance in the league again. That's not acceptable. Do you agree? I think Ange will be like, yeah, I agree, but I need a squad with more experience in it. And they'll have to shake hands and say, let's do it. Or part ways. Because Daniel Levy needs to add at least 3 first-team experienced players to that squad.
Yeah,
and if he does that,
back, we need possibly a left back, and we definitely need a midfielder.
It's greatly going to depend on who leaves, because obviously Romero leaves. You've got Dragusin and Danso there, but do you want to try and replace? I mean, no one can replace a Romero, but you can try and replace him again by a similar sort of player or a profile player in the squad. Do you want to try and add a homegrown player like Mark Gahey from Palace? But would he want to leave now Palace are in the Europa League next season? There's so many factors to everything. But again, talk about the squad and the togetherness we've seen. The backing that Ange has got from that squad. You fire him, then maybe a few of those players that are kind of, I was thinking, Romero, right now, I just had this amazing time. We're in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I like living in London. And he talks about all the time, like his social stuff is him, by the way. Like there's all these players who've got this well-finessed kind of social. And every now and again you'll see a post like, oh, you can tell that's the player. It's spelt wrong. Yeah. With him, it's him. Like he tweets, whenever something comes out in English, that's his management team. When it's all, it's him. And all the time, it's like him and his family, loving life in London, loves it, all this, he's happy. There has got to be a part of him that's kind of like, yeah, I do want to play in Spain, but like right now, this feels good. Like I've just done this. We're in the Champions League next year. Maybe I sign with I don't know, what do I do? Ange gets fired. I think his brain goes, oh,
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm not doing this again. Like I'm not starting again at this club. I've been here 4 years or 3 years and I've seen 4 managers. Do you know what I mean? It's like you could completely understand that. It would make the decision for him.
Yeah.
Whereas if all of a sudden Daniel comes out and says, right, Ange, here's a year extension or whatever, but we've put some clauses in there around league performance or whatever. You don't even have to give him an extension. Just back him publicly. We've completed a review. We understand the things that have gone on behind the scenes. The league form is unacceptable, but Ange knows that, and we're going to work hard this summer with recruitment to make sure we're better next year.
We've got rid of those muppets up here, Munn and the other guy.
Yeah.
And
whatever you want to do, you do that, and then the next thing you do is you go to the agents of these players and go, right, guys, we want to press on. Ange wants to do this. You let Ange call him. Ange calls Cutie and goes, buddy, come on. You want to play Champions League here, don't you? Come on, sign the thing. And all of a sudden, the whole thing changes. But, I mean, that's my opinion. My opinion is this season, in 5 years' time, no one is going to remember how shit we were in the league. They're just going to remember the night in Bilbao. In 10 years' time, it's even going to be further away. In 15 years' time, someone starts telling you the stats. You're like, really? Bloody hell, was it that bad? I don't remember it being that bad. No one's going to care. because there's no actual impact on us. It's not, like I said, whether it's 8th place or 17th, the only difference is in the club's bank balance.
We weren't going to get relegated. We weren't going to qualify for
No.
Europe. So therefore, anything
Exactly.
in between, we won a trophy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see Ange kept the job, and I am fully realistic enough to know that if it gets to the end of December and we are sitting in the bottom half of the table,
he's gone.
then he has to be like, right, gentleman's agreement. You got till December. Prove you can do it in the league as well. Yep, fine.
He was on a 3-year contract with us, and this would be his 3rd season. So, gentleman's agreement or not, the club are not worried about the compensation.
No,
like it is like financially, there is no stress. So, from the club's point of view, it is infinitely more sensible to give him the opportunity and to sign players, because everything has been geared to play Ange Ball. Everything has been brought in. All of those academy players that have been in and around the first team this season have been learning, getting experience. You are gonna shit on all of that and start again?
No, it can't. Or happen, it can happen. It's Daniel Levy, but it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen. And I know there's so many fans listening to this who are like, no, it's been so bad. But really think about it. Really think about the actual consequence of that. Like, it's been crap to watch this season, but that doesn't mean next season's going to be the same. Like, you think about the first 10 games of Ange Ball, we were all going, wow, what the like, this is incredible. And it's never hit that level again, but except on different occasions. But then you look at the injuries that like, we had a first 11 who played those first 10 games. Then we lost 4 players, I think, in a week.
Yeah,
and it never
injured. Romero and Udogie got
suspended.
And Maddison.
And Maddison, yeah. So you look at that, and then you look at this season, and it was decimated. And he was like, yeah, we didn't get it right in pre-season, so we started sluggish. And you're like, okay, all right, well, yeah, that can happen. You've heard loads of some of the best coaches in the world go. And then he ran into an injury curse. So as the team were probably about to pick up, bang, injuries happened. And it was like, what the shit? Like, we never recovered. But then he did the thing that no other coach we've had have done, which is, screw it, we're going to win something.
Yeah.
And he actually did it. And this is the key thing. It's like, yeah, but what if he didn't? You know, it was a crap game and all this crap. Yeah, but he did. it's like if we had lost that final, this show would be us saying, you know, we got to the final, but we can't go over the frigging line. It's been a bad season. It just hasn't worked. You know, we need to start again.
Yep.
We would all be in that mindset, but we did win it. And so the players do have that now. That squad, that togetherness, that we want to frigging win again.
That night
like, we
was
want
so
to do
incredible.
This again.
I want to feel like that again. And that's something we haven't had since 2008.
Yeah. And it's on another level for me. I think a European trophy is more than the League Cup.
Oh, massively so.
Probably more than the FA Cup, which is difficult for me to say because of my affinity for that, because of my age, probably. But I think it is. I think winning in a European night, like, it's kind of crappy to me. I don't like the fact it was Man United. Like, but imagine we beat Athletic Club in the final in their state. Do you know what I mean? It's just there's so much to like a European night, but the fact it was Man United kind of brings it down a little bit. But it was a European trophy. It's a big deal, and it was a Wednesday night. You know, it was just this is mad.
It makes that little bit sweeter that it was United, because United have this history of finals.
But you love them.
No, I don't love them. But United had this history of somehow finding a way.
Yeah.
They somehow find a way in a cup final. They beat Man City last season in the FA Cup. They were not expected to do that. You know, they, even in the Europa League this season against Lyon and stuff, for those last minute double, they have a way of doing things in cup competitions. Yeah, so the fact that they couldn't do it against us, that made it that little bit sweeter, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, that is our show. That is our season. That is 2024-2025 wrapped. We will be back. I'm going to say this now. If he does fire him, We will probably do a show some point in the summer with whoever the new manager is or whatever, but keep an eye on the social medias. We'll say like, okay, we're gonna fire up the desk and do a record. But
it'd be Mason again, ole. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Ryan Mason, he's got a job offer from a championship club, which he's mulling over. I think personally, now is the time to do it. I think he's just realised something in winning the Europa League. He saw Chris Davis leave last season and go and win promotion from League One to the Championship of Birmingham, doing a very good job. He should back himself. And I love Ryan, and I think from everything I've ever been told, he's a phenomenal coach. But he should back himself to go and give it a go. The only thing that worries me about that is I think Matt Wells will go with him, and Matt Wells needs to be at Tottenham. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping someone gives Matt Wells enough money that he does not leave, because he went with Scotty Parker to Fulham.
Yep.
But then he was an academy coach then, whereas he's a first team coach now. So I don't know.
For me, it's a case of I genuinely want to see at some point in the future Ryan Mason named as the actual manager, not just interim manager, but the actual manager of Tottenham. And I think he needs to go away and go and earn his right to that title. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think just for him, I mean, I just want him to have a good career. Like when he left to play for Hull, like I just wanted him to have a good career. I'd followed him all through the academy, all the loans, and so like now, just in his coaching career, I want him to have a good career wherever he goes. Yep. Just have a good career. So, but anyway, that is it. That is the show. It has been an absolutely insane season, but in this season we did win the Europa League. We won a trophy. All of the Warra Trophy jokes, all of the when was the last time Tottenham won something, they can all go themselves.
It was Wednesday. Ha!
Exactly. But until next season, everybody take care. Have a brilliant summer. Enjoy all the summer sports like cricket and stuff like that. And we'll be back to talk about football for next season. You all take care.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.